Hello, RecBall enthusiasts. Welcome to another week of Full Court Press. I'm here with Jack McGinn, Alex Badger, and Quinn Donovan, and I'm Will Schiffman. It was a great first week of RecBall. There's nothing like a new season, and let's get right into it. So one of the first games was Cory versus Barry. Jack, what did you think of it?
I thought it was about what we expected. Cory struggled a lot with the press of Barry, and they struggled without Jack Choate down low. Barry brought their press like we expected, and Cory didn't have the ball handlers to handle it.
Yeah, Cory's got a lot of bigs with Choate brothers and Ed Lee, but I think that Ossiel is going to have to step it up for them to have a decent season.
You can go ahead. And, I was talking to Tyler Nagy about this. Tyler Nagy thinks that team could be one of the greatest RecBall teams of all time, and he's throwing it out there like that. I'm not sure about that, but I think they could pose some serious problems for teams in the league.
I think it's tough to beat the Adam French, Dave Bellevue championship team.
Just because you're on it.
I mean, not just because I was on the team, but I don't know. French and Bellevue were an absolute force.
Bold words from the man that his teammates called the sloth in Tyler Nagy. But Team Barry, definitely one of the favorites for this year. But it was interesting to see Team Cory play without the Choates because, Jack's probably one of the guys everyone wants to see this year. And, he's making his return to basketball after a long break. And he's a big-time athlete, but everyone wants to see what he can do on the basketball court as a 6'6" giant.
Yep. And I think one of the biggest upsets of the week was Croft over McGinn. I don't know what to say about that, but I think that it was more of a loss for your team than a win for Croft.
I'll just say that Coach Croft had a great defensive strategy going into that game. We heard they were going to go 1-3-1, and we thought it was going to be more of an extended trap, so we prepared for that. But then they packed it in and handled us defensively very well. And I'll just say I don't think Fred and myself will combine for 18 or less the rest of the year.
That's what I like to hear.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you guys can win a game if you do combine for under 18. You guys need to. The big problem with that was you guys struggling to put the ball in the basket. And once you guys get some scoring in, you should be all good.
Yep. Dynamic duo has got to keep stepping it up. But you did bounce back, though, with the win on Monday night. That's definitely a good thing to see.
And then we had Grossman versus Last. Not two great teams playing against each other. I think Grossman's going to struggle this year. Their top guy is Kevin McCarthy. It's going to be a tough season for them.
We'll see. Coach Grossman thinks he can get everyone rallied together. We'll have to see what he can do. But, they're struggling right now. We'll have to see if Eric Gould can step up and just some role players kind of make an impact, see if they can get out of the hole.
Yeah, we got to see if they can play with a chip on their shoulder coming in through the end of the season. See if they can play with a little confidence as they pick up a couple wins.
Yeah, they were ranked last in the Rupert Goobert power ranking, but I would say I don't think they're the worst team in the league. So
I'd agree with that. I don't think they are at all.
Yeah. And we saw they lost that game to Team Last, who was led by Kevin Flahive in that one, who obviously had some extra bonus rocking the Air Monarchs from
maybe the best shoes in the league.
Probably
1900s version.
And I think Kevin and Will played pretty well together, missing Sternberg as he let everyone know in the Facebook group that he did not play because of a knee injury. So it was a good win for Team Last. And then we had Guilbeau play Philbrook. That's a junior heavy team in Guilbeau. Badger, you being the junior of us, what do you think of that team?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to watch as people like the Kaplans and Aria make adjustments into RecBall from school ball. It's interesting to see the effect of that and how they're playing together. This team is a bunch of really solid guys who can all play together, so it'll be interesting to see how that meshes throughout the season.
Yeah.
And I'd say I love the drafting strategy by Coach Guilbeau. Draft a bunch of juniors that know each other very well, and they may not have a ton of height, which is what everybody notices right away when you see that roster. But, they got a bunch of strong guys, and they got people, the camaraderie on that team is really going to get them places.
Yeah, a lot of chemistry on that team. Philbrook is off to an 0-2 start, not looking too hot. They're leaning a lot on, I'd say, Matt and I don't know.
Jared Boyer.
Jared Boyer. Jared Boyer has consistently been a great rec ball player with Frenchie last season. I think that's Jared's going to be a huge part of this team.
I think in order for them to catch a win, though, they need to rely a little more on their role players and not be so top-heavy. If they can get the role players the ball and get them some points early, that could be a huge play for them.
Yeah, Jack McCarthy, you got to get him involved.
Yeah.
And I think Ridham could really step up for them too.
Yep.
He's a pretty fundamentally sound player.
Big body down low.
Yeah. So then we had Hogan versus my team. It was kind of, it was what I expected to happen.
It was a pretty sloppy game.
It was a slot. Oh my God! To the start of the game, there was little scoring, but then we got it going.
Team Schiffman did not come out of the gates running.
No, we did not.
Definitely, as you guys picked up the press, kind of got things rolling. But Team Hogan, we're gonna have to see what they can do. Noah Burrell played pretty well, and but Ryan Primo is gonna really have to take over, and they're gonna have to get some more production from the rest of their team.
So then we had Zach Walker's team and Kelly against Townsend, and I think that Walker is proving himself to being one of the best players in rec ball. I mean, 28 points, that's getting up there for a first week.
I don't think anyone in the league is capable of guarding him when he's at his best,
Yeah.
and I think he'll probably end up being the most valuable player this year.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see the way teams start playing defense on him to try and match up against that, whether it's a box and one, whether they go zone and just try and stop the inside game.
It honestly may have to be a double team on him
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's not one person that can cover him in this league.
But I don't think his team gets enough credit in the fact that, I mean, Pat Kelly's a great rec ball point guard. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you put too much attention on Zach, Pat's going to beat you every time.
Sure.
And so that's what really makes that team lethal. And Coach Kelly's going to see that, figure everything out along the way. And but definitely I'm excited to see what that team can do and to see what Zach can keep going with.
And Team Townsend, there's really nothing they could have done to play Zach.
Yeah.
But
And especially missing Jeremy James as your best player. I'm not saying that he's going to be a Zach Walker stopper,
Yeah.
but he could have put out a better effort for Team Townsend
Made it a
there.
little
So
closer.
it's tough to really see where they're at and where they're going to be going for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So then we had Capello versus McElhaney, which was, honestly, I did not see this result coming and Capello winning.
Yeah.
I thought that Frenchie was going to have to score 25 at least to help his team win, but he showed that he had some role players around him in the Kumars and some other key guys. And I was surprised that Eli couldn't get it done for his team.
He got outscored by Sid, which
Yeah.
Sid's a solid player, but Eli seems to be a little too confident maybe, in the Facebook at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, he still looks good. I mean, he had like 16 of the first 18 points, and him and Sid combined for like almost all of their points, so I think that's what it's going to look like all year for them.
But you're looking at Eli. He's got to be a big presence down low, and he's got to play big, especially with new guys like Zach Walker in the league.
Yeah.
He's not just going to be able to get by pure strength anymore, so he's got to just watch it and play.
Yep.
I think it's great to see. I mean, French played great. He only put up 15 points, or only. I mean, that's a great game. But I mean, he didn't feel like he needed to take every shot. He had guys that he could give the ball to, and guys that would give the ball to him when he's open. So
Yeah.
that was a great game to watch as far as it goes with him really not thinking he has to be the only guy.
Yeah. And then we had Bersani against Meyer, and Bersani looks very good. Him, Pete, and Brendan are looking like a very good dynamic duo.
And I would say that's the deepest team in the league, that's from my perspective. I mean, they have a ton of big, long guys, and I mean, they play a 2-3 zone, and everyone's got their arms out. Like, that's going to give rec ball teams problems.
Yeah.
They don't know how to break a zone well enough. And I mean, with Brendan, obviously one of the best players in the league, Pete stepped up. He had 20 this weekend, and that team just looked great.
Look,
Yeah.
Brendan's going to get his, and Brendan's going to score his points when he needs it, but if Pete can step up for that team and keep putting in numbers like this, they're going to be a real threat.
Yeah. I mean, if they both combine for 40, that's a solid team.
Yeah.
And on the other side, Team Meyer, Zach Lavine looked pretty good, but they were missing Alex Mack, so maybe they would have been able to keep it closer if he were there.
And then we had 2 Monday night games this week. It was obviously the big one was Team Barry versus Team Lass, which, as in big, I mean a big margin of victory for Team Barry. And I mean, Team Lass put up 15 points.
Yeah.
one of the worst showings of all time.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
RecBall.
in last defense, they were missing Kevin and Sternberg, but 15. I mean, like, my God, that's
You got to get the ball in the hoop at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, and there are also some accusations of running up the score on Team Barry. I am not surprised, but I'm also in favor of it. I like the aggression. I like the competitive nature, especially in Joey Kurtz's new standings. That's going to pay off well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, you got to do what you got to do. Got to do it.
For Team Barry, Charlie Snow looked really good. That was a little bit of a sleeper pick there. He's might have been one of the steals of the draft.
That's also a deep team with the Sullivans and Tyler Nagy.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be. They're proving to be one of the better teams in the league right now.
And then Jack, what did you see from your team on Monday night beating Team Philbrook?
I mean, Prune just went full on Prune. He almost had 30 and he hit 5 threes. He didn't miss.
Yeah. We were writing the predictions, and after Sunday, your prediction was not looking too hot, so I had to absolutely change it and go a full 180. I mean, your team came back and showed that you can't just judge a team off of 1 week.
Yeah. Prune's got to be consistent, though.
Yeah.
You can't be an elite RecBall player and have 9 points some games and 27 some games. So if he can just step up and get those high teen games pretty consistently, you guys are going to be in a good spot.
And Philbrook is now at 0-2, which is not looking good for that team.
They've had some tough competition though. When Prune drops 30 on you and you play Team Guilbeau in the other game, it's tough to read too much into it early on.
Yeah. And I'd say next week not next week, the week after, because we don't have games next week. Yeah, and Barry versus Bersani will be one of the bigger matchups so far this season.
I'd say, from right now, definitely the biggest matchup.
Definitely
Yeah.
is.
And I mean, that's two alpha teams in this league that I think right now are the two strongest teams. And I mean, it's week 2 and there's a ton left to happen. But I mean, I'd say Team Barry and Team Bersani after week 1 looked like the best teams in the league.
So who are your picks for that game?
I'm gonna go with Bersani, the new guys in the league. I think Brendan and Pete are too much to handle for Team Barry.
I agree with that. Yep.
Yeah.
I think Team Bersani, Barry's going to press them, and Bersani's going to have to find a way to get out of that. But I think Brendan, as a ball handler, is very good in RecBall. And I mean, I think Team Bersani's length is going to give Barry issues. And I mean, on the defensive end, I think Barry's going to struggle to score.
I think it's going to come down to a late fourth quarter 3 or buzzer beater or something, but it's going to be an exciting game. All right, that'll do it for us this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and have a good week.
None of you else gave a salute. That was
I would